I believe there's three places you should track: your time and your money. Everybody goes, of course, your time and your money, but we don't track our mindsets. When we sit down and track our KPIs, key performance indicators, what's our return on investments? We don't sit down and go, well, how was my mindset? How did I speak to people this week? How did I treat my spouse or my girlfriend or boyfriend or my kids? How did I treat myself? We don't track those things. And as we get older, if we don't track, we can't replicate. And one of the things that I think business owners and sales reps fail to do is track weekly those three big things: your money, your time, and your mindsets. Because if something's working and you can't replicate it, then you just think you've arrived. You're like, well, I figured it out. And then when things go south, you're like, well, how do I fix it? Well, you don't know.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by Tranquil Turtle Massage. Tracy over there, the founder, she's a small town girl from Montana, loves God, loves her family, loves her friends, loves working out, fishing, and camping. She has a passion for helping those in need and enjoys being creative with woodworking, crocheting, healthy baking, pottery, and cooking. Look, she began her massage journey back in 2010, where she graduated from massage school up in Anchorage, Alaska. She specializes in her signature massages, the Hanu Infusion and the Hanu Ashiatsu, as well as the gua sha and manual lymphatic drainage. If you're looking for a massage specialist and someone who could get you feeling good, go see Tracy down at Tranquil Turtle Massage. And while you're there, check out CDA Microblading, offering Coeur d'Alene's best tattoo brows, plasma fibroblast, tightening, and PMU services right there in the heart of downtown Coeur d'Alene. Make sure you book your appointment at pnwmobilemassage.com. Clint, you're an entrepreneur. You're the host of During the Break podcast and so much more, man. Such a great dude and honored to call you friend. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invite. It's the roles are reversed, man.
For sure, man. It's such an honor to have you on. And I love to kick my show off by going back a bit. Like, where did you grow up? What's childhood like for you?
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yeah, that's where I'm actually, based out of right now. I had a good childhood. I had a great childhood. Went off, graduated from a local high school here. And here's the thing: I say this all the time. I'm old enough now to remember the schools I went to were kind of local. We didn't have people coming out of zip codes. So we kind of grew up with this community, which I loved. And then I went off to college, came back home. And then I realized when I had kids that I had to pay for a private school to send my kids to for the same environment that I had. So I had a great childhood. I had a great young adolescence. And I guess I'm one of the guys that would call privileged because we weren't rich, but man, I had a great family.
Oh, I love it, man. And that's what's best, man. When you got a good family, doesn't matter about money, doesn't matter where you live, man. The family is all important there.
I was surrounded by people that had more money, but they weren't happy.
Right. Oh, such the story for entrepreneurs out there, man. And we'll get into that a little bit. That's some of the questions I have for us. But I mean, you've been an entrepreneur for a long time. A lot of people like get into it and they fail. They get into it and they quit just because it gets tough. Like, what's your drive to be so successful as an entrepreneur? And then when you hit those failures, like, how do you overcome them?
I actually own a website. I haven't done anything with it, but it's called Failure Avoidance Coach. Nice. Because I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what not to do.
Sure.
By mistakes. The reason I love owning your own business, and even if you're a commission only sales rep, you own your own brand and business inside a business. I think salespeople forget that. They let the company carry the weight of the branding. They forget that they have their own brand. But the reason I love it is if you want to give yourself time off, go earn it. If you want to give yourself a pay raise, go earn it. If you want to build big, you can. If you want to keep it small, you can. There's just so much more inside your control. And I figured a long time ago, if I'm going to live with the stress of the world, I want it to be as much as I can control as possible.
Yeah.
Man, I love it.
So good, man. And it's like true for all entrepreneurs, man. And even if you're commission or like I still work full time, but I'm still an entrepreneur, right? Like we still have to go in there and go, man, this is my brand. This is how I got to be running it. And, for you though, you've been in marketing for a long time as well. What are people not doing today in marketing that they should be doing?
Oh man, there's something that I have come to realize over the last 10 or 15 years is I didn't track what I was doing right and wrong early in my career, business owner or salesperson. And what I mean by that is I believe there's three places you should track: your time and your money. Everybody goes, of course, your time and your money, but we don't track our mindsets. When we sit down and track our KPIs, key performance indicators, what's our return on investments? We don't sit down and go, well, how was my mindset? How did I speak to people this week? How did I treat my spouse or my girlfriend or boyfriend or my kids? How did I treat myself? We don't track those things. And as we get older, if we don't track, we can't replicate. And one of the things that I think business owners and sales reps fail to do is track weekly those three big things: your money, your time, and your mindsets. Because if something's working and you can't replicate it, then you just think you've arrived. You're like, well, I figured it out. And then when things go south, you're like, well, how do I fix it? Well, you don't know.
Right.
And then things were going wrong. If you don't know what to change or what to tweak, you could be 6 months down the road with really bad habits or really bad down a bad way. And now it's too late to change it, or it's much more effort to change it. So I think the thing we miss, spending time with ourselves.
Oh, yeah. So good, man. And for me, it's all about in the morning routine, man, when I'm getting in there and I'm making that happen and just trying to get personal development and draw close to God for me, and having that worship music going.
Yeah. Real quick, have you discovered that it's easy to fall out of the habit, but it's hard to create?
Yes. In fact, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Like when you create your habits, for me, it is tough to create them, but then once you can kind of build that momentum and keep going with them and you get off track, like how do you get back on track for those habits that are there for you?
That's where I think, I hate the word accountability all the time, but you got to have people that expect you to show up.
Yeah.
I think it's important, just speaking from a man's perspective, my world's better when I've got other guys in my life that are saying, hey, how's that going? Did you do that? Man, tell me about this. Not as I'm really answering to them, but because they care about me. Mm-hmm. And they know me well enough to give me grace and mercy when I need it, but they don't buy my BS. They don't, when I give them the excuse, they kind of go, oh, okay. Yeah, that's whatever, man. I got you. Right. Just tell me you didn't do it. What's your problem?
Yeah.
I that is the number one way to prevent, I think, of getting in a valley and staying there.
Yes. Oh yeah. Who is your biggest entrepreneur influence? For me, like I was growing up and I saw Tony Robbins all the time as a kid. And then I was like Jim Rohn. And now I'm a big fan of Ed Mylett, and this show is here because of Ed Mylett. But who is that entrepreneur influence for you?
Man, I don't know if I've ever been asked that question. Of course, I've only been on, I'm not you, dude. I've not been on like 100 podcasts, whatever, a year. I've been on maybe 10 or 15 as a guest. I don't know. I love Tony Robbins, but there's a lot of local people. So I owned a commercial cleaning company when I was 24 years old. I started it.
Okay.
And quit a job where I was making money. And the next day I had no money coming in. So me and my partner I got 32 accounts within 6 months.
Wow.
So I built that over 3 or 4 years. When I got married, I was in my late 20s. Well, I didn't want to take every night and go manage people at these different office spaces, right? Sure. I had like 9 employees. So I sold the company to my partner. I say all that to say this. I really don't know why. I just know that I was a better boss than I was an employee. Now, I was a commission sales rep for 15 years, but inside that, as a commission sales rep, you have latitude and, the freedoms that come with that. Since since I left the sales world and went into owning the marketing and coaching company, I love the Jocko Willnicks of the world who build. Here's why I love the Jockos and the Ben Shapiros and the Tony Robbins here's why I love them. They not only build a business, but they also provide content to help other people. So they're making virtual widgets that help people while they build their brand and they provide real content. So I think the definition of business owners changed a lot. The internet has changed what a business owner can be.
Right.
It used to have to provide a widget.
Right.
There was none of this. If you were coaching, you had to be coached in person on the phone.
Right.
So I think that's changed it a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we kind of touched base on this earlier, but I'm big on morning routines and habits and things like that. For you, like, what do you do in the morning to kind of help you make your day a success?
I say my kids and my family's names by name to God. I pray for them. I say their name. And if I know there's something specific, I say that. But most of the time, I just figure God knows them better than I do. And so I just say, hey, God, I don't know what my son Jacob needs today, but take care of that, Same with my daughter, my mom and dad. And then I stretch for about 20 minutes because I have horrible joints.
Okay.
So I stretch, drink all my water. I go through about 3 or 4 bottles of water in the morning. Then I go hit my heavy bag for 20 or 30 minutes. And that takes up about an hour.
Come on. Oh, that's
Hell
awesome, man. That's what
heavy bag is therapy, man. When I started the box thing, shoot, that's the cheapest therapy you can get, man.
I got an 80-pound bag down in the basement. I need to go hit that up more, man.
I said this when I went through my divorce about 5 or 6 years ago. You know, the world doesn't, if you do it right, they can't tell if you're crying or sweating.
All right.
But God does. And that's where I talk to God. So
come on, man. I want to talk about your podcast because I was honored to be a guest on your show. You've got During the Break podcast. And when did you start that thing? And how has that helped you in your business and coaching and all that stuff?
Started it over 4 years ago. I actually have another podcast called Dayfire, and then we talk about adventures in the great outdoors from people around the world. I was very blessed to be part of that one. My personal one, though, During the Break, I was sold radio for a long time, commissioned only sales rep and advertising. That's why I started my advertising company. I used to own a billboard company. So I had the radio experience and the billboard experience, started a marketing company. Well, what I realized being in radio as a salesperson, a host, and a guest is I would hear this all the time when people would come back from the radio breaks. I wish you guys could listen to what we just talked about during the break. That's where all the good stories were shared.
Right.
And so I started the podcast to have those kind of off conversations, those off-brand conversations. And so it could kind of go down different roads and have tentacles to it. But it's helped me in business. Really, the biggest thing is it's helped me learn how to listen better. And it's introduced me to more people, adding to your old school Rolodex. So young kids out there, air quote, Rolodex.
Yeah.
We used to have this thing on our desk with all our contacts names in it. Now it's called your phone, but
yeah.
So it's helped me. It's helped me a couple ways, man. But I love podcasting. Do you love it?
Oh man, for me, it is life, man. It's my non-negotiable. Like whatever is going on in life, if I can break away from, I still work a full-time job. So to break away and do this during the day, it's like my mental break, right? Yeah. I love just having connection with people and talking with people and hearing their stories. And I mean, for me, I started in 2017, man, and been doing 2 shows, and I stopped the other one at the end of last year, and I'm just focused on this show now. And man, it's so good to me to just refresh my soul when I can get on and have an awesome conversation, man.
I used to have another podcast too, and I think you nailed something though. You stopped the other one. That's one thing that I've learned. Another kind of business tip is simplify.
Yes.
Minimize. The minimal mindset is a big deal because sometimes we have so many open tabs, and I find this when I do business owner coaching. They have 12 open tabs and they're going, I don't know which ones to shut, which ones to focus on. I'm like, dude, we got to work through that. And I think that's good. I cut my other podcast out too. And the other ones that I do got way better.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I ran the Top Rated MMA show for 4 years, 256 episodes. And I was, doing that one on top of this one for 3 years or 2 years, I guess. And just wanted to focus on the business side moving forward. And it wasn't really, I was more passionate about the business side than I was talking with MMA fighters. Still love the sport, but I had to kind of take a break. I literally shut down. I quit following, quit liking all of the MMA pages and just focus on business, guys. And that's really helped me, I think, enhance my interview process, the steps, the relationship, the businesses that I've been able to pick up. I wanted to jump real quick over to your other podcast because I know that I saw it on your LinkedIn, but I wasn't sure how involved you were on it. So tell me again, what's that show and what's that show about there?
So a buddy of mine that I met as a radio sales rep back in the late 90s used to own a company called Rock Creek Outfitters. If you Google Rock Creek Outfitters, you'll see it has a huge outdoor presence. He built it, owned it for about 32 years, sold it 3 years ago. Now, Rock Creek Outfitters sells outdoor gear for extreme or weekend outdoor warriors. When he sold that company, he came on my podcast and great stories. He's been around the world doing crazy things. Well, we started talking. He's got access to all of these athletes, all of these entrepreneurs in the outdoor space. So he said, let's do a podcast. He's the guy that only does things the right way.
Yeah.
So we just started having these weekly conversations with people from all around the world, hiking, biking, paddling, the van life, conservation, gear. And I'm a co-host. We're 50-50 partners on it. I contribute the questions from a novice perspective. I love chasing waterfalls, but I'm not climbing 14,000 feet. unless one of my kids is trapped up there and I have to. And even then we're probably both going to die. I'm not that skilled. So anyway, that's the podcast and Dayfire podcast. It's awesome. I love being part of it. Dawson Wheeler's his name, by the way.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. There's a guy that you should check out if he's looking for outdoor guys. There's a Man Van Dog blog is the website. And gosh, I'm just drawing a blank on his first name. I just remember his website. Former NFL player, played in the NFL for about 6 years, sold everything, went into a van and just started traveling the US. And that's what he does. And he's a super cool dude. I had him on my show in the early days when I first started the Erik Allen show. Really, really cool dude.
We interviewed a guy that ran across the United States from South Carolina to California.
Whoa.
And his stories, I wrote this guy's name down. You just gave me the Man Van, the dog blog, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to him because the stories, that's why I love podcasting, because from the outside, you make assumptions on how it went. Yeah. But it's those little stories along the way that included pit bulls and Busch beer cans and hamsters in cages. And you're like, what? I mean, it's just these stories that come from those conversations. I'm going to check that guy out, man. That would be good.
Yeah. I'll shoot you his message after the show here. In regards to success and fulfillment, what is the difference between those two for you?
Man, I think you are successful if you're fulfilled, if you're content. I think that is my definition. Again, has changed, man. I've raised 3 kids, but we had 2 dogs, the goldfish. And I think my definition now is, am I content? It doesn't mean I'm not driven. It doesn't mean I don't want more, but it means right now, if my life were to have a screenshot, am I happy in this moment with the health of the people around me and our minds? Then yes, that is success.
Yeah. Oh, such a good definition right there, man. What are you most excited about right now in 2022, man?
I'm still here, dude. I'm 54. I got all kinds of problems. We went through a pandemic. We never know what's going to happen. Right. I'm really excited about the possibility over the next 12 months. I think I told you this before. I got a divorce about 5 years ago, had to shut Connect Marketing down. About a year and a half ago, the coaching component of that, small business owners and sales reps, started coming back. So I'm very excited that over the next 12 months, I will start shifting more and more of my income to podcasts, which I make money at it now, but more of it to podcasting and to the coaching component, because that's what I want to get to in 12 months. I would like all of that to be back inside my umbrella, so I don't have to have the other jobs.
Yep.
And just help business owners follow my template of tracking their time, tracking your money, and tracking your mindsets. Here's the other thing about podcast and coaching that you may have learned. It really helps hold me accountable. Because if I'm talking to you about it and I'm getting off the coaching call or the podcast and I'm not doing it, I'm like, I'm a piece of crap. I got to go work out, man. I got to get back in that habit, right? Because nobody's perfect.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so good. I'm actually going through right now in the process of getting certified as a John Maxwell coach and speaker.
Oh, good for you.
And man, it's just stretching me, just even going through the courses and getting through that certification stuff, man. And I think timeline with that would be like sometime in August. I think I'm getting my official certification, but going through that track, man, I'm learning so much, man, about like, how do I tweak my coaching? How do I do that? Right.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 42.
See, I love that, because I think the other thing the internet's done for us is it's helped us challenge ourselves later on in life. One of the things that I've learned is as you get older, your first start going away, right? The first car, the first baby, the marriage, the first house, all these first. Well, they're not your first when you get in your 50s or 40s. So finding things that still make you nervous and excited is key. I think that's when the spirit dies, is when we stop putting things in front of us that we go, okay, that one I better get on my game for this thing.
Right.
I'm a little nervous. Can I do it?
Yeah.
I love that.
Man, it's been a fun journey. I would love to do more public speaking and just even podcasting. Like, I wanted to take the courses because I wanted to grow myself, to be a better speaker, to be a better coach. And, I do that with my podcast clients and stuff like that too. And so I love that you're doing the coaching stuff and getting back into that, because I think so many people are wanting help, and then not enough people are asking for help. But if we can be there and be available, then I think that can help make an impact on their lives and the world, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I am also, as I get back into it, I'm realizing that business owners, and I share this with them, and you might do it, you might as well. a lot of us won't help. We want to talk about wanting help.
Yeah.
Doing the things that will help is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
I love my own excuses. And man, you start coaching somebody and they're great until you give them pushback on that sore spot. And they're like, well, I don't know how this is working out. I'm like, yeah. I know. I knew this was coming.
Right.
Yeah. We're 30 days in, the honeymoon's over. And I'm actually asking you, how did it go this week? And why didn't do it? And all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm just too busy for this. I'm like, I got you. No worries.
Yeah. That's one thing that I just don't do, man, is I just don't chase clients or anything like that. When they decide to do that, hey man, that's a choice you're making, man.
I tell them up front, listen, if I get 10 clients, I'm going to have half of them are going to fall out over the next few months, 6 months. Yeah. And it's nothing. I told them up front, I don't take it personal if that happens. It's going to happen though with somebody. Yeah.
Oh, I love it, man. So funny.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah, for sure, man. Where's the best place for people to connect and follow with you?
You just go to any podcast platform. You can go to and just look up During the Break podcast, Clint Powell. Or you can go find Dayfire, same way, Dayfire podcast. I'm on Facebook, the Clint Powell, Clint Powell, or During the Break podcast on Facebook. Those are the best places to find me. You can message me and we can talk about other stuff if you want to.
I love it. And I'm also a big fan of music. So I love to ask the question, kind of end the show. Like, what's a favorite band for you? Favorite type of music you like?
It's not going to be a short ending, dude. Yeah. Okay. I'm a very eclectic taste. I grew up listening to Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Okay.
I grew up listening. Yeah. I've got Muddy Waters is on my playlist right now. Buddy Guy's on my playlist. AC/DC. I am a very eclectic guy. The only type of music I don't really like, is operatic and orchestra type music. I just don't dig that.
Totally.
And a lot of the new rap. I'm old school rap. Heavy D and the Boys, Run DMC, Kool Mo D, that kind of stuff. New rap. My kids try to keep me young, but I struggle with it.
Oh man, I'm the same way.
Yeah. And if they catch me working out though, I might be listening to, if I die like in my living room or cleaning on Saturdays, I'm going to die with CCR on. If I'm hitting the heavy bag, I'm going to die with some hard metal or rap music on. And people are going to think I'm either going to heaven or going to hell by what I'm listening to probably.
I saw Creedence Clearwater Revisited live one time and it was awesome. And John Fogerty wasn't there, but the whole rest of the band was. And man, it was so cool to see that. I wish John would have been there, but to
me, he's one of the best songwriters ever in American history, man.
Absolutely, man. And then I'm the same way. I flip over to I'm listening to Tupac and Biggie and old school rap, right? I can't listen to any of the new stuff, man, but old school rap, I can listen to a jam.
Hey, I got a guest recommendation for you, man. You ought to get Marty Ray on if you ever want to talk music. Marty Ray, I've had him on my podcast several times. Have you ever heard of him?
Yo, yeah, he was a guest on my show. He's a great dude.
Dude, I'm sorry. I didn't know he'd been on.
No, yeah. I mean, shoot, man, I can't keep up with all the podcasts, but yeah, he's a great dude. I had him on the show. Talked about his story about jamming with Vanilla Ice, man. Such a great dude.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't know you'd had him on. So yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a great guy in regards to connecting with fans, man. Loves to connect with fans. I always see him commenting, and just the fact that he reached out, back to me and said, "Hey, man, I'll come on your show." What a cool dude, man, for sure. So, man, Clint, such an honor to have you on. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. This was great, man. A lot of bombs dropped, man. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate the invite. Best of luck to you. Hope you keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much for checking out the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to take a listen or a watch. It's truly an honor to be able to speak with such amazing guests, and I hope that they've made an impact on your life in some way, shape, or form. And you could do me one big favor that would be huge. Click that subscribe button, and then second favor, hit that share button. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate you. Keep changing the world. I believe in you.